So we're talking quickly about the 3-year-olds, where they're at, what they're doing, what's going on. Arctic Force is not back yet. He'll be back, I suspect, today, tomorrow, Tuesday, something like that. The horses from Florida will return. Really Blue Chip and Arctic Force are on their way. Allison, if you guys watch, she's quietly become one of the better 3-year-olds that we've been training back. Jason has said she's totally different than she was last year. Very strong, very durable, very quick on her feet. Allison looks great. As I said, Arctic Force is on his way back. Beach Boutique, she is huge. This filly is a big, big girl. I saw her on the track yesterday. She looks sound. She looks comfortable. This time off is going to do a lot of good for this filly. Beach Bum BB's continuing to look good. Ended up first over again with her. She's just hard on herself, right? You see me seesawing on her. She just won't relax. Just immaturity. She'll get it, but it'll just take time. So Beach Bum BB was good yesterday, finishing second in her training trip in a first over position, but was pretty durable in the end of the mile too. Bottle of Red looked good again. She made a little bobble there. Somebody said, what happened to her? She was following Watch Ev, and Watch Ev got all out of gear and made kind of a break, and Danny fished her out in the middle of the track, and whatever. Bottle of Red just needed to go around anyway. It's not a big deal. Brush Cut trained yesterday, and trained good, I guess. These horses are both racing, so you're really just trying to keep them up. And if we're going to look at that mid-May start back, there might be a week here where we can just turn them out in the field. These horses were already racing, so it's not the same as the horses that were just qualifying. They need a little bit more work to keep up, to keep progressing, whereas horses like Bottle of Red and Brush Cut especially, and Beach Boutique were already there. So they might find a short hiatus in the near future. Cabernet, we said a little bit of bad luck with Cabernet. Little shadow in her pastern. Going to be cautious with her. I really think this filly's turned the corner and into a much... So I can tell you this much. She looks way better than she did when we turned her out. You know, she'd raced a few times, taken a mark, been relatively effective at Flamborough, and then come back, just looked like a beast when she come back. Looks so much better and was so much more comfortable. Come up with that little shadow in her pastern. A little time in the stall, fix that. Not a big deal there. It could have turned into a big deal. So thankfully, Dr. Bozenjack found that, and Harry brought it to our attention quickly. We'll nip that in the bud right now. Canadian Titan, struggling a little bit right now, but you'll find in the next, I said to Mario, relax. 14 days, we'll have her completely fixed. We got lots of work into her. There's no concern. She's not falling behind anybody. Just take your time, and we'll get her right, and we will. Canadian Titan starts her road to recovery and back to 100% tomorrow. It's not really a lameness issue, more or less, just a maturity and growth issue. Just got to work on her, tweak her. You know, she raced so well last year. You don't want to change her equipment. She changed her body. You're going to have to change her equipment to go with it. So a few little tweaks here and there. We'll get Canadian Titan back on the road very, very soon. Capistrano looked great yesterday. She's starting to really, really look good, putting weight on, feeling comfortable. Compass Rose DC, as I said, really caught my eye last week and again yesterday. This is a filly that looks really, really good for 2020. Don't believe me, just watch. Had his operation. For those of you who didn't know, he had a little bone spur on the back of his knee that was really rubbing and bothering him. They just went in and took it off. I guess it's fairly remedial. I'd actually never heard of it before. I could see how it could happen, but they just took it off real quick. He, again, 4 to 6 weeks, so I guess he'll have a training partner back when Cabernet comes back, also in the same time frame. Emerald Miss continues to look good. Another filly that may find the field for a couple of weeks. She was doing some great racing before we turned her out. Want to keep an eye on Ohio. I suspect in the next 10 days, a week to 10 days, there's going to be a decision made of soft date, hopefully, for Ohio. I think they'll be the first one back to the trough, so to speak. They'll be the first one back racing, and then I believe other jurisdictions will follow suit. That's my personal prediction, and I believe that will be the first part of May. If it is, Emerald Miss won't have much time off, maybe a week at the most. Enduring Strength made a little break yesterday, not a big deal. Yeah, these just the Angus Hall come out in him. He got a little bottled up and a little twisted around. He'll be just fine. Excellent Nation trained in 2:30, trained great. I apologize for not updating people why he didn't train. It was simply just a matter of Harry didn't want to go as fast as we were going. Not a big deal. It seemed a little conservative to me, seeing how he paced 54 around Christmas time. But nevertheless, Harry's training him, and I want to make sure everybody has all the leeway they can have with their horses. Forged in Fire is still in Pennsylvania, again, waiting for an idea of when he's going to be. What's the point of bringing him back here And then when everybody opens up at the same time looking for a class to race him in, we already know where there's classes to race him in. It's right where he is now. So Tim's been pretty good about his billing. He always is. Does a great job taking care of them. I don't see any reason to move Forged in Fire out of the Meadows just yet. Frontier Cruise trained good yesterday. Kevin's going to have to come in and see the judges about his stretch drive, but he trained good. And as I said about Adrenaline Rush the other day, once in a while these cranky buggers, you got to hit them a little swat. He's got to understand that this isn't playtime. It's time to work. When we turn and go the right way of the track, it's game time. And Frontier Cruise was good yesterday, and I suspect to be better in the long run for that trip. Giddy Up Max was good again. Globetrotting continues to look good. We haven't really pushed the accelerator at all. Haven't even had the hobbles on Globetrotting. Jason thinks maybe she won't need them, and I love buying into that dream, but I can see the same issue she has. When she straightens out of the turn into the stretch and the straightaways, you can see her put a little roll in. That roll will be much more than a roll going a 27-second quarter, so I suspect the hobbles will find her lags at some point in the coming weeks. Harness AM, little break yesterday, no big deal with her. She never runs. Just looked like maybe the track was a bit deep and her hobbles were a tiny bit loose, and put her in a spot where you get to a turn and got to scoop her up a little bit, and she rolled off. Not a big deal there. Hometown Boys look fantastic. I'll Play It Alone is also with Forged in Fire. This is a place I think they both need to be. Tim's been working with us, and again, it's affordable. It's not that expensive to have them over there, and I appreciate him doing that. Inland Beach trained awesome yesterday. Johan, I can't wait. I'm going to go to the barn after a bit. I got some stuff to do. I want to look at, can't deny my spirit, I'm going to jog him. I want to look at Knockdown Dragout, might even jog her. And then I do want to look at Johan to see how those legs look. He certainly pulled up good yesterday, and they said his legs were great. So that is fantastic that Johan was good yesterday. Just for Me and You was really lights out. James, you can see, had a bow in his neck going under the wire. She's ready to rock. Looked good in her qualifier, and these training trips are only going to help her. Knockdown Dragout is back with us now. I haven't seen her yet. I know as much as you do right now. When I go to the barn, I'm going to have a good look at Knockdown Dragout. She'll likely be in the sets next week when we're training. Miss Brampton Beast was good. People said, why? She pulled up short. And Jason just went around with her. She trained in 2.2, come half in 58. Looked strong last week. Kevin just said, take her to the back and finish up. We were smoking pretty good on the end of it, and Jason just fanned her out and then just let her roll up by the fence, and she was good. Muscle Chrome. A few little shoeing changes coming on old Chrome. She'll be fine. This time here to let her work is much needed, and she will reciprocate that, I suspect, when we get her to the races. Nancy Allison, I know, made a break yesterday. Not concerned with Nancy. I thought she was much better yesterday. Running in a little bit, and then we'd shot her afterwards. Found 2 corns in her right front foot and the inside corner. A little bit painful. Probably led 1 to her being a little warm last week, and 2 to the break you saw yesterday. 2 problems. Two things precipitated that. 1, the corns in her feet, and 2, going 1 trip with her. You're not going out there and just going to turn and burn Nancy Allison a mile in 2:12, 2:15. It's not happening. Got to go 2 trips with Nancy and thaw her out. We will do that next week. Need Your Opinion was good. If James had any critique for Need Your Opinion, is that she wouldn't let go of them. She just gets racy, right? She loves her work. So next week she needs to be a little ramped back a little bit. Olympic Hopeful's ready to go. Angie has her ready to go in Illinois whenever they start up. Overdue Mission trained good yesterday, a little flat, but she had missed some time. I think maybe not even next week, but the week after you'll see her look a lot stronger. But Overdue Mission mechanically did her work very well. Path of Totality, if anything, she was making a little noise yesterday. You hear a little lethargic pulling up. Probably just some mucus in her top of her airway. We'll work on that. Maybe I'll go with her next week. I love this filly too. Kevin's pretty protective of her. He loves this filly to death. I think maybe I'll go with her next week. I want to see what she feels like. Really, Blue Chip will be back at that point also. She's been in 2-1, so if depending on the day she gets back, how she feels, how she acclimates, next week might be a stretch, but the week after, definitely we can go with her. Rooney Blue Chip, that's as good as I've ever seen him train the other day. He was really, really, really good. Rose Run Valiant was good, talking about horses that have really turned the corner. James had nothing but good things to say about this colt. He started to frustrate me because you could feel him just not putting out. Now he's the opposite. Now he's got his gait right. We'd made some shoeing changes. He looks good. He feels good. James says he feels comfortable and confident. This could be any type of horse now that we got him put together properly, and he's matured into a better horse. Rose Run Versatile, I might have been hailed him with Johan yesterday. Jason was being careful. Obviously, she trained the week before and run all over the track. Now, her training yesterday, he said the hobbles were a little tight, probably too tight, but she did her work well and never put a step in. That's a big bonus. Sebastian Yu, as I said, I kind of ratted on us a little bit. We TQ'd him a little bit yesterday, put a little Atrovette in his feed, and he's a cheap drunk because he never tightened the line. This horse is grabby and hot all the time, but never tightened the line, and I suspect if we go with him in this set next week, you'll see much of the same. There's no need to get this horse hot. I like the fact that he sat in the hole, behaved, regardless if he had a little bit of ace promazine in him or not. For him to sit in the hole and behave and do his work well was just fantastic. So you'll probably see the same thing next week. Sometimes things happen. Was really good. Now he's in the race bike because he hits a jog cart. But man, oh man, you saw him finish up. He's ready to go, this colt, and he's turned into a much, much better horse. Quietly, maybe, than even I thought he would be. I didn't know how he'd be. Would he be a decent grassroots horse? Would he be effective? Not. Looks like an effective horse to me. This horse looks like he's ready to rock. Spirit of Dio. John Bootenshane can... Oh, I skipped one. Spend that money. Couldn't have looked any better than she did yesterday. Flying on the end of it. Those wrinkles we saw the week before, both in qualifying and in training the weeks after. Looked a little rocky in the turns. We made some shoeing adjustments. She's much better now. Spirit of Dio, again, ready to go. Whenever she gets a green light. John Bootenshane obviously has her in good shape and ready to move forward. We'll see how she does when she gets a chance to. Sunshine and Shade trained great yesterday. These miles, this is another horse. This is really helping. This little bit of time, or 2:15, 2:12, pushed him a little bit, really turning into the horse we need to. Jumped the gun a little bit on qualifying, but we couldn't do anything. There was no schooling or training that day. He had to qualify. He was about 2 weeks out of schedule. Now you're starting to see how good he looks. Sunshine and Shade was great yesterday. Susie K was very good. Old Susie never gets the respect she deserves. If we could ever just find a way to put her engine in a real good horse, might have a world champion. Susie K does the best and uses all the tools God gave her on the track for certain. Trafalgar trained by herself yesterday. Great training trip for her. Just trying to keep the weight on her. Don't want her stress level up, so she trains by herself. Watch Ev, not a half-mile track horse, but man, oh man, he's got a big engine in him. If I came a half and won one or a minute and a piece, he did also, and he looked very, very good in doing it. Willpower fashion, the break yesterday was as much my fault as his. I should have moved him there rather than letting him throttle back and get himself in trouble, and he just rolled off. And then Zeb Sunshine looked good again. Kevin's really got this horse looking like a nice horse, and I can't wait till we get back to the races so we can get a good look at him. So those are all the 3-year-olds. I'll be back in a minute. We'll talk all about the 2-year-olds.